Hi, this is Professor Dave Heffernan. I'm a full-time faculty member and a criminal justice program chair at Valencia College in Orlando. Today we're going to learn about Ernest Burgess's concentric zone theory. The concentric zone theory originated from the Chicago School of Criminology. It's often referred to as the ecological school also. This theory is considered a social structural theory of crime, but also a social disorganizational theory of crime. Theorists of the concentric zone theory believe that human behavior follows basic principles of ecology, including the way that cities grow. They saw cities as complex organisms. In Burgess's concentric zone model, cities grow on the edges. They also grow from the inside, outwards in radial growth. The original residents move outward, leaving the older housing for those of lower income and those unable to find accommodations elsewhere. Concentric zone theory is comprised of 5 different zones. Zone 1 is the central business district. Zone 2 is called the zone in transition. This is an area of factories and low-income housing, and coincidentally is the highest area of crime. Zone 3 is working family homes, which includes single-family tenements. Zone 4 is higher priced family dwellings. Typically, you would see yards and garages. And Zone 5 is suburban or the commuter zone. These are the suburban communities that surround towns. As I mentioned earlier, the highest rates of crime and delinquency are in Zone 2, which is referred to as the zone in transition. Burgess described the zone in transition as a melting pot of the poor, immigrant, destitute, and the criminal. This zone is characterized by dilapidated housing, drugs, prostitution, gang activity, and general economic misery. The further out from Zone 2, the better the social organization and the lower the crime rate. In this image, you see Zone 1, or the central business district. In this case, it's a mature town. So the older buildings at town center have been replaced with high-rises. So this is an area where you'll find banking and commerce. This is Zone 2, or the zone in transition. In this area, you'll find factories, dilapidated buildings, and low-income housing. This is Zone 3, the working family homes, where you have single-family tenements. As you continue away from city center, you come to Zone 4, which is the higher priced family homes characterized by yards and garages. The final zone is Zone 5. This is the suburban area, or the commuter zone. People from this area, the doctors and the accountants, travel into the city center during the day and then return home at night. You have 2 images on this slide. A top view and a side view. In the top image is one of the original drawings from Burgess's work, and you'll notice there's not much detail on the right-hand side because that's where Lake Michigan is on the edge of Chicago. If you look at the image on the bottom, it's a side view where you can see the central business district, or Zone 1, is on the left-hand side, and as you continue out to the right, you go through Zone 2 with the factories, the zone in transition, then on into more and more expensive housing until you get to the suburbs out there in Zone 5. According to the concentric zone theory, there are 3 factors of social disorganization that contribute to the higher rates of crime in the zone in transition. The first is residential instability, then ethnic or racial heterogeneity, and finally poverty. Heterogeneity means many, so this would be a diverse ethnic and racial population in Zone 2. This is just another image showing the zones, but highlighting the zone in transition, an area of residential instability, ethnic and racial heterogeneity, and poverty. We're going to look at each one of these factors individually. The first is residential instability. Neighborhoods that have high residential instability have high population turnover. Individuals move in and out rapidly. High turnover fails to provide residents with time to get to know one another, resulting in a decreased sense of neighborliness or concern for others. Instability leads to little investment in the community by the residents, in that they do not take care of the neighborhood or worry about its appearance or betterment. Ethnic and racial heterogeneity. Racial and ethnic heterogeneity suggests that a neighborhood is populated with diverse races, languages, cultures, thus creating barriers that isolate groups from one another. Generally, we think of diversity as a good thing. However, in the study of crime, it's not always good. In socially disorganized neighborhoods, different racial and ethnic groups are known to isolate themselves, having minimal interaction, diminished lines of communication. These limitations negatively affect meaningful interactions that promote shared community values and goals. And finally, we have poverty. Interestingly, poverty is one of the strongest variables related to crime. Poverty-stricken neighborhoods have a high concentration of poor people. These areas have high rates of public assistance, low home ownership, high physical decay, drug addiction, alcoholism, low educational attainment, violent crime, and delinquency. Poverty-stricken neighborhoods have insufficient resources, which makes it difficult or almost impossible for them to deal with community problems. This concludes my presentation on Burgess's concentric zone theory. It's been my pleasure to walk you through this theory. This is Professor Dave Heffernan at Valencia College in Orlando, Florida. Good day.